guys, and welcome back to the Saints View, the channel for Southampton content for your guide to Southampton's 2019 pre-season ahead of the new Premier League season. That is right, we're getting even closer to the new season, and as of next week, Southampton players will be returning to Staplewood to begin their preparations for the new campaign. Before we get into the video, guys, do make sure you are subscribed and you are following us on our socials. We'd like to be on 600 subscribers in the next week or two, and so if you could go and subscribe if you haven't yet already, it'd be much appreciated. Also want to just apologise for the lack of content over the last week. It's been a mixture of the fact that there's not really been any news going on regarding transfers, and also the fact that I've still got a bit of a blocked nose and coughing every other minute probably isn't ideal when you're trying to watch a video. But in this video we're going to have a look at where the players are going and when they're going, who they're playing across the next month as they prepare for the 2019-2020 season. Starting off, they will be returning to Staplewood as of next week. That is the week commencing 1st of July. The majority of Southampton's players are expected to show up because of the fact that there's not been a European Championship or World Cup this summer. And of course we don't have any South Americans competing in the Copa America. That means that only 2 players aren't expected to return next week, and they are Sofiane Boufal and brand new signing Moussa Djenepo, who are both in action at the African Cup of Nations. That means that immediately Ralph Hasenhüttl will have a pretty full squad of around 30 players, if not more than that when you include some youngsters to have a look at, which is perfect for him. Obviously some of them will be coming back from loan spells, so he hasn't even seen them yet, so he'll be able to have a look at a really big squad, and obviously we know he wants to trim the fat essentially. But next week will be pretty intense for the players, as it always is, as they return from their holidays. Bleep tests, all these fitness tests that I just can't imagine doing myself. Really would not like that, but it's part of the game, I guess, and so they need to get back in shape. I'd like to think that they've kept themselves relatively in good shape over their holidays, but of course it's been over a month since we finished our Premier League season and they will be unfit and not ready yet. Now that's a week of training at Staplewood, and then their first trip, I guess, of their pre-season campaign is out to Austria. They will be headed for the Montfont region, which is Western Austria, closer to Switzerland, and they will be headed there for a training camp. They did go there 2 seasons ago under Claude Puel. Mountain area, nice facilities it seems, so decent trip hopefully for them. And they will be capping off that week with a friendly against Austrian Bundesliga side SCR Alltag on the Sunday, which is the 14th of July. Now briefly on Alltag, they finished second bottom in the Austrian Bundesliga, but the way it works is you've got the top 6 and a bottom 6. The top 6 compete against each other at the end of the normal campaign, and the bottom 6 compete against each other, not the normal campaign. It's a bit like with the NBAs where it's split into Eastern and Western Conference, however this is based on where you finished in the table. So there's prizes up for grabs where you finish in that sort of section, so whether it's Europa League qualification or Champions League qualification or even relegation if you finish bottom of that relegation spot. So Alltag is still an Austrian Bundesliga side. It's really complicated, we don't need to go into it yet, we'll go into that when we do a preview in a couple of weeks. So then after the Alltag game, Southampton will return to Staplewood, have a week of training, and there's another friendly for them on the Saturday, which is the 20th of July in England. Not quite local, it has to be said. 500-mile round trip up north to Preston North End as they face Preston at Deepdale. Preston finished 14th in the Championship, so in terms of tests, I'm not expecting it to be a decent one, but of course at this stage it's just all about fitness and sort of trying to get around 60 to 90 minutes under your belt. However, the 11 that come out to play Preston and the substitutes that come on, sort of roll on, roll off, however it works, will be quite strong, I'd imagine, because literally the day after, Ralph Hasenhüttl, Danny Rule, the assistant manager, and 5 senior players as well as a handful of younger players will fly out to Macau on the 21st, which is the day after. That's the Sunday, for a couple of days. Now this trip out to Macau is pretty much the reason why Southampton have the 3rd highest mileage total for their pre-season trip out of the entire Premier League, and it's pretty ridiculous. So Gao, who's the owner obviously, wants to see his team out in China. Fantastic, that's fine, represented. However, it's the Southampton 11, it's mainly going to be youngsters, and they will play Guangzhou R and F in a friendly at the end of the couple of days. So it's the Sunday to the Wednesday that they're out there, so really not long at all, and it's going to be very tiring for Hasenhüttl and the 5 senior players who go out. Not so much the younger players, because obviously they won't be involved as much as pre-season continues. But again, I guess it's a good opportunity for Hasenhüttl and Rule to see the younger players and sort of have an idea of who might be in line for a debut. when the season starts. Now Guangzhou RNF, the team they are playing, are in the Chinese Super League and they're quite local to Macau, so it'll all be fine, they'll come back. But as Hasenhüttl rule and these players are out in Macau, the rest of the team will be out in Dublin. Now they fly out to Dublin on Monday the 22nd of July for a week's training camp. No game for this one, no game that's yet been announced, and then they'll come back on Friday the 26th, but they won't be coming back to England. They'll be going to Holland, I believe, straight from Dublin, as they go to face Eredivisie side Feyenoord in Rotterdam on Saturday the 28th of July. Now we know quite a bit about Feyenoord over the past couple of years. Obviously Koeman managed them, Pella played for them, as well as Jordi Clasie, and we did play them in a friendly 4 years ago, beat them 3-0 at De Kuip Stadium, which is obviously their home. They finished third in Eredivisie last season, so it's probably the strongest test of the entire pre-season, a good side who are regularly competing in Europe. Now that's on the 28th of July. After that game they come back to England for the last week of pre-season. Now during this week, traditionally the club host 2 friendlies at St Mary's, one midweek and one on the Saturday before the start of the Premier League season. So far they have not yet announced the midweek game. If they're going to play one, it's not yet been announced, but they have announced the game that will wrap up the pre-season campaign, which is a home friendly against Bundesliga side FC Köln. Or Cologne. Last season Cologne did win the Bundesliga 2, which is essentially the German Championship. They got relegated the same season where they were playing Arsenal in the Europa League, relegated, but have come straight back up, and now they are a Bundesliga side again. So for me, not really the biggest test we could be facing. I think in the past couple of seasons we faced bigger outfits. I mean, Sevilla, Espanyol, Borussia Mönchengladbach, even Celta Vigo. I think we played Bilbao a couple seasons ago as well. I do think we could be playing a bigger team, but there's no disrespect to Cologne. Hopefully it's a chance for a win and sort of wrap up pre-season with a good result. And like I said, it's not really about the results throughout pre-season. We know that, it's quite cliche. It's all about the fitness, and I do think Hasenhüttl will be demanding a lot from his players. I think it's going to be a really intense pre-season for those players, and that's what we want to see, because we do want to hit the ground running. Quite a difficult start to our Premier League campaign in my opinion. I think the home games clearly are quite difficult. The away fixtures not as bad, but we do start with an away trip to Burnley. It'd be fantastic to set the ball rolling with 3 points there, as we do have to face Liverpool at home in the second game, which is going to be incredibly tough. But thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, do let us know in the comment section below. Leave it a like as well if you've enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe if you haven't yet already. Follow us on our socials. Let us know the game you're most looking forward to throughout pre-season. Let us know if you're going to any of the friendlies in Austria, Holland, or even the one at Preston, or the ones at St Mary's when they come around, because you know, they're big trips, especially if you're going abroad for a pre-season game. And we'll see you in the next one.